Jing-a-ling-a-ling. Who's that coming down the chimney, Kristin? Why? It's the Chairman Pro package from Manscaped. It's like the Rudolph of grooming, guiding the shaver to the smoothest, irritation-free shave of their life.
You can head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million folks worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code BUFFERING for 20% off plus free shipping. Jenny and I both received the Chairman Pro package and texted each other independently to be like, this is the most beautiful thing I have ever opened. It is a gorgeous case, a gorgeous razor. It's just really, really beautifully put together. Gift your loved ones or yourself with the ultimate grooming experience by Manscaped and choose the Chairman Pro package for the holidays. It's a thoughtful and practical gift that folks will actually use and love.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code BUFFERING at manscaped.com.
That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code BUFFERING at manscaped.com.
Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope. Not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Oh, hello.
Hi there. We have a little mini intro for you. It's just a tiny little thing, but I think it's very exciting and also makes my heart very warm. Jenny and I wrote a book. I don't know if you've heard. It's called Slayers, Every One of Us. And Jenny, two really cool people read the audiobook. I don't know if you've ever met them.
Two stunning, sophisticated, elegant, well-read luminaries.
Yes, yes.
Kristin Russo, who's actually my good friend, and Jenny Owen Youngs.
Who's actually my
Read-
best friend. Yeah.
Yeah, they recorded the audiobook, and they're so cool. And the audiobook is really exciting because it is the book, but it's also there's some musical components, much as with the podcast, which has a very musical spine. We have incorporated some of the recordings from the run of the podcast and also some pieces of music, fresh recordings of songs that you might recognize or excerpts that you might recognize and stuff. One of the things that happens in the book is that we talk about when we performed Prophecy Girl at our very first event ever in December of 2016 at Union Hall. And what made that night so special is that it was the first time we were in person with so many of you, and everybody sang the song together. And what we're hoping to do is to recreate something like that within that small part of the audiobook. So we were wondering if we could impose upon any of you to submit a recording of yourself singing along with Prophecy Girl.
Yeah.
Sounds complicated, but don't worry.
No,
we've got a plan.
It's very easy. It's very straightforward. And you've all done this before, at least many of you. Years and years ago, we actually did this to sing happy birthday to Charisma Carpenter. A different reason why to do it, but still, we know you can do it because you've done it before. And so if you go to the landing page, bufferingcast.com/Prophecy Girl, all of the instructions, everything you need will be there. You can just use your iPhone. This does not need to be like a hi-fi recording. Just write into your voice memos is fine. All of the things that you need to follow are there. There's an audio clip where we've clipped it for you. This is really important, okay? And it'll say it on the page too. But you need to have headphones in your ears when you're listening to Jenny sing the song, because otherwise your recording will have Jenny in it and we won't be able to use it. So you're just going to put your little headphones in your ears and it'll be 3 of the choruses of Prophecy Girl. You're going to sing along to those 3 choruses and you're going to send us that file. And all of the instructions on how to do that are on that page, bufferingcast.com/Prophecy Girl. We will take all of your recordings and layer them in the audiobook. And so we will recreate the moment that we have. It's kind of creepy because we're kind of in this weird 2016-2024 parallel now. We will be We'll be recreating the moment that we had with you all in Union Hall. And I want to say, too, that the book has a lot of the actual recordings of these things in it. But like Jenny said, this was the first time we were ever in a room with all of you. And because of that, we don't have a recording of that experience. So that's why we're going to recreate it for the folks who are going to listen to it at home. So, yeah, we just wanted to let you know. And probably most importantly, there is a deadline. It is December 3rd. So you do need to get those recordings submitted by December 3rd if you want to be a little part of our audiobook.
We'd love to have you.
Thank you so much. And now enjoy this conversation on The Harvest, second part of a 2-part pilot. Hell yeah.
Let's go.
This world is older than any of you know. Contrary to popular mythology, it did not begin as a paradise. For untold eons, demons walked the earth. They made it their home, their hell. But in time, they lost their purchase on this reality. And the way was made for mortal animals, for man. All that remains of the old ones are vestiges, certain magics, certain creatures.
And vampires.
Okay, this is where I have a problem. See, because we're talking about vampires. We're having a talk with vampires in it.
Isn't that what we saw last night? No. No, those weren't vampires. Those were just guys in thunder need of a facial. Or maybe they had rabies. It could have been rabies. And that guy turning to dust, just a trick of light. That's exactly what I said the first time I saw a vampire. Well, after I was done with the screaming part.
Oh, I need to sit down.
You are sitting down?
To Buffering the Vampire Slayer once more with spoilers, a podcast where we're watching and discussing each and every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer one at a time for the second time, this time with spoilers. Mine is a glorious sacrifice, degradation most holy. I'm Jenny Owen Youngs.
First of all, you scared the shit out of me, and I've been doing this for nearly a decade. So apologies to anyone who just had a jump scare from Jenny's enthusiasm, but also you're welcome because we're fucking back, baby. My blood is your blood. My soul is your soul. I'm Kristin Russo. That's super chill, right?
So
and actually not gay at all.
In no way.
In absolutely no way. I'm Kristin Russo, and today we are discussing Season 1, Episode 2 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the second time. It's called The Harvest. You've heard of it.
I have. The Harvest was written by Joss Whedon, directed by John T. Kretschmer, and originally aired on March 10th, 1997. Our spoiler-free coverage of this episode originally aired on September 21st, 2016.
Do you remember?
I do.
The 21st day of September 2016.
I just told you I do.
When we discussed the harvest for the first time. This is the one, according to IMDb, where Buffy and her friends encounter a powerful vampire bent on opening a portal to a dimension inhabited by demons.
Kristin.
Yes, Jenny.
Into every generation, a spoiler warning is born. We alone wield the strength and skill to discuss things from any of the following sources. All 7 seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the canonical Dark Horse comics, and Angel the TV series, and any related canonical comics, and also anything that currently exists inside of the Buffyverse, and anything that may be announced or released as we go.
This could be summed up by saying we do what we want.
Wow, that's also true.
So obviously we have a lot to discuss today, but something has happened, and I think it was beginning to happen when we were recording Welcome to the Hellmouth, but folks are getting very excited about listening to the 2016 coverage against the 2024 coverage. And I've made a little document because people were messaging me. You know what I mean? It's like some people were emailing me, and then some people were in the Discord, and some people were replying to tweets. And I was like, I can't keep track of all of this. I'm making a centralized public access location.
Wow.
Where
thousands and thousands of people can access this Google document. What could go wrong?
Nothing. You know what? Fucking as a queer activist adjacent human being, I've seen publicly sourced Google documents go just brilliantly for wonderful things, and this is a wonderful thing. Maybe not quite so activist adjacent, but still. It's going to be fine. Just be respectful in there. Have a good time. You can get to this document. This is where if you've listened to The Witch and you're like, oh my God, you guys, you talked about this for the first time, or you've listened to our newest coverage of The Harvest and our last coverage, and you're like, wow, you said literally the same sentence twice. If you just have to tell us something about 2016 v. 2024 Buffering the Vampire Slayer coverage, you just go to bufferingcast.com/now and then. I thought that would be easy to remember. Bufferingcast.com/now and then. It'll take you to this Google document. Don't make a huge mess of it. Be tidy. Be nice. Make it nice around the tree. Pretend you're the mayor of Sunnydale when you go in there, and leave us your notes. I do want to just share, Jenny, a couple of things from Welcome to the Hellmouth from Mads, one of our listeners who on Discord wrote that Welcome to the Hellmouth 2016 gave us our first instance of graveyard versus cemetery.
Love it.
And we taught a lot of people the difference between these two things. And do you want to know who never remembers still? It's me. It's this guy. One of them's attached to a church. One of them's not attached to a church. I'm going to say that a cemetery is attached to a church. A graveyard is a cemetery. A cemetery. Final answer. Cemetery is attached to a church. Graveyard isn't.
Wow. According to worddefinition.net.
So you don't remember either?
No. I remember.
Okay.
Graveyard attached to church, cemetery not. But actually, according to dictionary.com, cemetery and graveyard are both words for burial grounds. The two words are often used interchangeably, though graveyard is more often used for smaller plots, such as those located alongside a church. Cemetery is perhaps more commonly used due to avoiding the word grave. Because we, as a species, love to just tiptoe around.
We don't want to think about dying.
Yeah.
Who wants to think about dying? I think the reason that I always flip them in my mind is because to me, graveyard specifically denotes a yard of graves.
There's a yard attached to a house or, the house of the Lord.
You did it. I will never forget it again. It's the backyard of the church, and in it are graves. Done.
God's yard.
Thank you. And me and anyone like me now will remember it. It's also the first time that I talked about Patricia Arquette as the best horror screamer of all time, which is really remarkable to me personally. On my very first podcast ever, was already like, I am here, and I am here for one reason. It is to tell you that Patricia Arquette is the best screamer of all time. And then, Jenny, I also got a very big laugh out of the fact that you were, in 2016, just as excited with Anthony Stewart Head's physical acting on the balcony at the Bronze as you were in 2024.
That really shocks me because I had no recollection of. There are some things where I'm like, I'm saying the sentence, and as it's leaving my mouth, I feel that I've said it once before, approximately 8 years ago. But that was not one of them. I felt like I was seeing it for the first time.
Well...
And that's why it's wonderful to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer over and over again.
Yeah, everything old is new again. Clark, my sister's cat, who is a studio cat for just a couple more days before he goes back to my sister's house, just typed the numbers 6, 9, and 8 into the notes document. So we'll see if that is a foreshadowing for anything that lies ahead.
I have a few things that I want to say before we jump into the scene by scene, if you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
First, something anecdotal and not episode specific. Kristin, last week there I was sitting in church. Sometimes I sit in church.
2 for 2 on Jesus in the pod.
Sometimes I sit in church on Sunday mornings. Sometimes it happens. There I was sitting, and what to my wondering ears should be spake But you're familiar with church. You know, sometimes people read from the book.
I'm deeply familiar with church, as a matter of fact, yes.
Yeah. As it happened, this week's reading from the gospel, you are not going to believe this, was about the woman with two pennies.
Shut up, Jenny.
Gasped. I nearly hit the deck. My hands flew up to my mouth. I couldn't believe I was like starstruck by the gospel excerpt. I couldn't believe it. And here's what really killed me. Kristin, the mystery, her mystique only deepens. In this particular Bible, like the language that was specifically used was that she put 2 coins worth a few cents.
Oh. So maybe it was a penny and a nickel is what you're saying.
No. My sense was that it was 2 coins, each worth 1.5 cents. What do you think?
3 cents total?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are just listening to Once More with Spoilers and you don't have the history of our last 7 to 8 years of podcasting, inside of our first coverage, Jenny attempted to recount the story of the woman with 2 pennies and, did it so spectacularly wrong that it is just...
Well, it wasn't wrong so much as that it was just very full of my character.
Yes. And so that, along with The Little Match Girl and some other classics, have been retold by Jenny over the years.
Classic stories by Jenny. So yeah, and I also saw some people in the Discord who also were sitting in church.
Oh, because everyone does the same reading,
same gospel every week.
Yes,
across churches. So somebody else was like, "Oh, hey, I heard about the woman with the pennies," and I was like, "Yes." Okay, so now
I heard the book of Jenny in church today.
Yeah, from the Gospel of Joy.
Oh, that's great. That is great.
Okay. Next thought that is actually related to this show. And here we go. We're off to the races. Watching this episode feels like looking at this show's like 7th grade yearbook.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like everyone's so little. Things are so like dark. There's like stuff that happens in this episode too that like never happens again. That like the way that like the vampires look and the way that certain like practical effects are deployed, which we'll like get into more specifically later. I just was like, I was like laughing, smiling. My heart was warmed.
Yeah.
And I was having a blast.
I think too, the score fits into that list. Like it's so different from what we will come to know as the score.
That was my next order of business. Christoph Beck does not show up until season 2, episode 1, when she was bad.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't realize it was. So
we have a tonally very different approach to the score, especially in these 2 episodes, but I think that will carry through the rest of the season. This feels way more classic horror synth soundtrack.
Yes, I have that exact, I have synth in my notes. I was like, wow, and it feels very horror movie synth to me.
What long-running television comedy do you think the person who scored this episode went on to be one of the 2 main composers of?
The Office.
No. You want 2 more guesses?
A long-running comedy. Okay, so my first guess is The Office. That got a no. What about the Drew Carey Show?
Drew Carey Show, long-running comedy?
No, I'm just trying to think of like sounds that are synthy, and I don't even know if the Drew Carey Show is. And then Friends. I guess Friends.
Okay, all right. I'm going to give you one more guess.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you 2 hints.
Okay.
Erase synthiness from your mind.
Okay.
And think animation.
Oh. Long-running animated comedy. Literally the only thing I have in my head right now is Archer. The Simpsons. The Simpsons.
The Simpsons is very long-running. And that is true. But you know what is almost as long-running as The Simpsons, I guess?
South Park.
You know what's almost as long-running as The Simpsons and South Park?
What?
What do you think is the next?
God, I don't know. Don't make me guess
but
anymore. I've done a good job, even though I've failed.
Family Guy. Totally very different. Way more big bandy. And that kind of like sort of sitcom-y, like zippy orchestra. There we go.
Got it.
But yeah, Walter Murphy, one of the two main composers on Family Guy since 1999.
Wow. All right. From Buffy to Family Guy. Not a pipeline that I think has a ton of alumni.
Seems like Walter Murphy is buddies with Seth MacFarlane because he also did the music for Ted and Ted 2 and a bunch of other Seth MacFarlane stuff, including whichever awards show Seth MacFarlane. Did he host the Academy Awards?
I don't remember, but sure. Yeah. One other thing that I wanted to say, and I'm sure this will come up like as we talk, but just like big picture is, when you're as familiar with the show as we are, and as many of you listening are, you just come to understand that like the Scoobies are a group of chosen family that come together and they all have their roles. And, that's the powerful thing about this story. And so I don't know that I realized how quickly that was established. Like, obviously, I knew that Xander and Willow and Cordelia and Giles were all in the mix. I knew they were in these episodes, but knowing where we're going to go and seeing like the Xander and the Willow specifically in this episode, I was like, wow, we really knew what we were doing from the jump. Angel, maybe we didn't know what we were doing with Angel. But like really with this core crew of Scoobies, it's right here already in the pilot. And I love that. And that is like the 7th grade yearbookiness for me too, is just like watching this, like really knowing where we're going it just has meaning that, I don't know, it makes me a little weepy, makes me have my feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we know who the guy is who does the initial voiceover for these first few episodes? I don't know how long it lasts, but I don't think we do. And so I'm asking because I'm asking you, listener. Find out who this guy is. I want to know who he is. Is he just a guy from the set that they were like, hey, can you do a voiceover? Does he do other stuff? You let us know. hello@bufferingcast.com. All right, so to be continued. We are literally in the freeze frame that we left at the end of Welcome to the Hellmouth. We're inside of the mausoleum, inside of the coffin with Luke and Buffy. LaToya had a note about this cross and the power of this cross.
They don't make them like they used to, Kristin.
We will see variations on how powerful a cross is, how powerful sunlight is. That is very variable depending on where you are in Sunnydale or Los Angeles.
Yep, and whether or not you have a little blankie wrapped over your noggin.
Yeah, I mean, Spike is very, very tough, and that
he's the most impervious to sunlight vampire who's ever roamed the earth.
LaToya specifically was like, later when we're hugging crosses and such, it's like there's a lot of cross play and a lot of sunlight play from Spike specifically.
Do you think that it's easier for Spike to hug a cross, like less harmful to him because he has had his soul restored by that point?
Oh, is his soul? He actually has the whole soul? He does have the whole soul.
Yeah, he's all messed up.
Right. Yeah, maybe. I can put that on the board as a possible theory. Okay. The writers room really appreciates that, actually.
So Luke tries to bite her, but he's unable to finish the job because he bumps up against a cross and it singes him. So he, like a cat sprayed with a water bottle, jumps out of the coffin and disappears.
Jesse is taken by Darla, I assume.
Buffy kicks a vampire in the face who's trying to drink Willow. Please note Sarah Michelle Gellar's early days fighting stance. Her arms look incredibly self-conscious.
Yeah.
She looks like she just heard about fighting. Oh, and I love her. But she's getting comfortable. Mm-hmm. The way that she whips her head after doing this face kick and right before she runs away feels directly related to Giles' swivel of uncertainty at the Bronze in the previous episode. Also, the two vampires that are dragging Xander away, Buffy pops up in between them and does a sort of little diagonal one punch, one kick, simultaneous sort of whack-a-mole attack thing. And then stakes one with what I am calling a stake of convenience.
Oh.
Which I think is something I'm going to try to remember to keep track of as we go.
A steak of convenience. Like, this is like breaking off a table leg.
Yeah, she broke off a branch of a pine tree.
Okay.
I'm like, I know that we are suspending our disbelief, but that's just a branch. It hasn't been whittled. I know she's preternaturally strong. Just thinking about piercing a chest with even a stake, let alone a stick, for regular people. Once regular people start doing a lot of staking,
the point of the stake seems important, but Buffy's strong. We'll give her this stake of convenience.
Sure. Okay, sorry. And then we whip through the credits.
And normally one conversation about season 1 credits is enough. However, I misspoke last episode. And I said, we missed that scream where we see Willow's hair being blown back by magic. And somebody wrote and said, that's actually Amy's mom.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry. I'm used to, I know there's at some point that scream goes with Willow and magic. So
maybe in the season 2 credits?
Yeah, I just translated it in my mind. And so I wanted to correct myself. Thank you, whoever you are who wrote in to let me know of my error. Okay, to the library.
We get Giles' little monologue about demons and the earth and stuff that we heard at the top of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's having a hard time coming to terms with the reality of vampires.
Giles says, I thought it was really funny that not only are the Scoobies established really early on, but right at the jump, Giles is like, yo, the Bible is wrong. And also Buffy is like, yeah, cops are of no help to us at all. Just right out of the gates. Let's go, Sunnydale. My vampire book is correct. This Bible incorrect. It was not.
Who's to say that this world didn't begin as a paradise before the demons roamed the earth?
Oh, so like the Bible's just missing a couple chapters.
Could be.
Uh-huh. And the chat.
There are 30 years missing, very notably.
So we also get this, and I know that maybe everybody understands what happens when a vampire bites you and changes you, but I think somewhere along the line I maybe missed the detail, and it's right here for us. They are infected by a demon soul. That is what has happened when a vampire makes another vampire, sires another vampire. There is a demon soul that comes into their body, which makes the other soul teeny tiny. It's in there, but it's small. It's stamped down.
Because as you may recall in some canonical comics we just read, Angel's body was holding Angel's soul.
Right.
Angelus' soul and Giles' soul.
So
all at once.
It's in there. The tiny angel soul or the tiny Liam soul. The tiny Liam soul is in there, and that is Angel's soul. Listen, whatever. Just stop. I don't want to talk about it anymore, but the demon soul.
Oh, really?
I'm still working through it. Lara Clock is here. Jesse is brought to the master. Jenny, I thought the blood puddle was funny in Welcome to the Hellmouth, but now I'm assuming this is Colin because he seems to be the lighting director of all vampiric activities. It is spotlit. There's a spotlight on the blood puddle.
The only thing better than a puddle of blood is a puddle of blood illuminated, as I always say.
That's true.
Okay, so when Darla is like, his blood is pure, and the master is understandably pissed that somebody's been drinking his drink, does Darla mean that Jesse is a virgin?
Oh, we should have him light a black candle to find out.
Yeah. Also, why are all these vampires? He has so many minions, and nobody's bringing him anything to drink. What's going on? How could you have so many minions and none of them are doing their job? Also, I feel like these vampires, even though Luke is big and tough, like they're just all bad at successfully bringing human blood bags back to the lair.
Or like the master says himself, he's their faithful dog and they're only bringing him their scraps. It's not great to have vampires finding your food for you because they're fucking hungry. They're hungry. They're going to eat it before they get back.
Kristin, can I tell you one thing?
I have a feeling you're going to tell me more than one thing, but yes, you may. Jenny's.
I'm doing an impression of Mark Metcalf's hands as he's saying, I'm your faithful dog.
She's sort of
He's
rubbing
doing this,
her
like,
outstretched
amazing
fingies.
handwork where his hands are like sort of flat with their backs to the other vampires, and he's kind of like overlaying them.
Oh my God. The master's hands are, I'm pretty sure, where I decided long ago that in addition to demon bars, there are demon salons, places where our vampires, of course, get their manicures. And the master has one of the best manicurists in Sunnydale. And actually, the manicurist must go to him, you know, they have to come down. He can't go to the salon. He can't go anywhere. He's stuck in a wobbly bubble.
I know.
3 scores he's been down there. I got to teach Avanthi that score meant...
Score 25? I mean 24, sorry.
You think 24. It's actually an even 20.
Oh.
No.
Oh, 4 score and 20 years ago. Okay, wait a minute. Then why would you say 4 score and 20?
It's not 4 score and 20. It's 4 score and 7 years ago.
What?
You're talking about Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah. You probably learned what score meant, and then your brain subbed in 20 for the 7. But it's 4 score and 7.
7 years ago. Good thing I'm not teaching American history.
It's not every day that you get to teach your ex-wife and your wife both.
Okay.
About.
I think Avanthi and I are both cool for not knowing.
I didn't know either. I had to look it up. I truly forgot. So this is 60 years he's been down there. And also, I'm playing the Hell Math jingle because that's Hell Math.
Oh, yeah.
Hell Math. And he's in a bubble in a house of worship, question mark? I guess.
Yeah, he shudders saying worship. And his ascension is almost at hand. People on this show always ascending or aspiring to ascend. It can't be avoided.
A bunch of go-getters,
Kristin,
demons, you know?
It's true. I was inspired to make a small ranking at this point in the episode. I've ranked everyone's ability to talk with their fangs in.
Oh, okay. Do you want to give us that ranking right now?
I'd love to.
Great.
I've included
Are you on the list?
I am.
Okay, because I've seen you try to talk with fangs in.
I know. And I was the last person on the list when there were 4, but then later in the episode I had to add a 5th, and they're in the 5th slot. They're at the bottom. In slot number 5. It's been so long since I put a nom in a slot, but these are actually not noms. They're just the ranking is complete. Please
don't
stop
vote.
sending your
No
emails.
voting.
Don't
keep your
vote.
thoughts to yourselves.
Yeah. In slot number 5, Eric Balfour. Jesse, he can't handle it.
Shut up.
He sounds like my beautiful baby boy.
I think you and Jesse might be neck and neck.
It's slot number 4 me
intended.
because I host this podcast and I'm making the ranking.
Okay, fine.
In slot number 3, Julie Benz. The fangs are too big for her mouth.
Yes.
She's having a hard time. In slot number 2, Mark Metcalf. Master's speech not perfect, but just like way more believable, feeling a lot more lived in. Slot number 1, Brian Thompson. Luke basically is actually he just has fangs. Like,
yeah.
I think because he's such a big guy, and then his mouth is proportionately larger. Maybe there's just like extra room for these fangs.
Yeah, I agree with that ranking, and I would like to say this is a ranking for this episode because Julie Benz's fangs will become proportionate to her mouth, and she'll get better at it. However, Jenny is always going to be in the second to last or last slot for talking with fangs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Back in the library. Giles is back on his one girl in all the world bullshit, and Buffy's like, he loves doing this part, which really got me.
Also, I know we've moved to the library and I plan on staying here, but I do want to say that one thing that I have really noticed is that Darla, I know that the master is like her guy, the guy who made her, but the weakness, like sort of the like little like, oh no, I'm so sorry, is like a very un-Darla kind of a vibe, you know? Like Darla will just she'll wield that as like her power over people she wants to, kill or otherwise trick into her schemes. But we will not come to know Darla as somebody who would be cowering, I don't even think, in front of the man who made her. But, talk amongst yourselves. Okay. So the Slayer hunts vampires. Buffy's a Slayer. Don't tell anybody. Those are the rules.
Xander's immediately like, how can I help kill them? And Buffy is like, you cannot. And Willow's like, let's call the police and just say that there's a bad man.
They'd only come with guns. Buffy said, a cab.
Yeah, I mean, it would probably take a lot of guns to decapitate. Okay.
Oh, wow. Perforate the neck.
I mean, if she's talking about the X-Acto knife later.
Yeah, it's true. It could
I'm
be
inevitably going to be considering all decapitation possibilities.
We also learned that vampires in this universe cannot fly, but they can drive.
Worth noting because they could fly in Buffy the movie.
Yes.
LaToya also dug up for us that the decision was made early on because they didn't have the budget to make people fly and make it look good.
Right. And you know what? I'm thankful for that. Because right now I'm thinking about that scene in Vampire Diaries, which I love because it makes me full of delight, where Stefan and Elena... Yeah,
good job.
Nice. Go from the bottom of the Ferris wheel to the top of the Ferris wheel. They zoop up. They fly up.
Yeah, a lot of zooping.
We don't
Buffy
want that.
does a little zoop in this episode.
Buffy does
in a practical effect kind of way, and then we never see it again.
First and last zoop from Buffy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Willow already a hacker. They need a diagnostic of the tunnel system, and she is like, "I got this. I have it on lock. Out of my way, everyone."
Okay. Kristin, huge news. Okay, at the end of the last layer scene.
Yeah. I'm where you're at.
This is purely, I think, due to the fact that this was made at a time where people didn't watch things on, didn't TiVo or weren't streaming, weren't binging.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to remind people after the commercial break, I know you just heard all about herbal essences and you there were a lot of sounds coming from that shower that seemed like absolutely none of your business. You may have gotten distracted. You may have forgotten that the last thing we saw was the Master standing very close to Jesse, Luke, and Darla and saying, "A Slayer? ? Because the first thing that he says, he's now all the way across the lair. He's all the way across the cave, doing a dramatic ass runway turn, declaring, "A Slayer?" The exclamation point.
I rewrote in my mind. I made this believable, and in my mind, this is what happens. The scene before happens and the Master is like, "A Slayer, blah, blah, blah." And then he's like, "You know what, guys, that really wasn't the moment I was looking for. Can we try that again?" And then he goes over and he says, "Now tell me it's a Slayer." And it's him. He wants the drama. And I think that's kind of believable. Our man has been stuck down there for 70 years, Jenny. He needs something to do.
The Master's like, "Do we have any proof that this girl is a Slayer?" And Luke says, "She fought me and yet lives," which hasn't happened since Madrid, 1843.
Correct, yes.
LaToya highlighted for us that this is in between Angelus's Christmas killing spree in Dublin in 1838 and Angelus becoming fixated on Drusilla in London, 1860. Okay. Angelus met the Master in 1760.
So they're both hanging with the Master.
I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Angelus meets him, is unimpressed, is like, "Why are you hanging out with this naked mole rat?
Yeah.
Let's go fuck across Europe and slurp across Europe." And sorry. Let's go fuck and slurp across Europe.
Great.
And go have a blast. So Angelus takes Darla away from the Master in 1760. Around 1880, she returns to him. So in the intervening years, after Angelus has spirited Darla away from the Master is like, "I do feel inspired to have another tall, hulking brunette man. I should find a promising specimen and turn him." Don't you feel like the Master was like, "Darla got one. I want one too"?
Yes, I do.
And then sired Luke.
I love this. I also would love, I think LaToya gave the seed of this idea, to see Luke and Angelus together. Like, give me a spinoff that's sort of like Perfect Strangers.
The drama?
Yeah, no, it's not a drama. It's a sitcom.
No. The drama.
Oh, the drama. Yes. They're roommates, and I really mean it. Like actual roommates. They live together and there's all sorts of disagreements, who left the blood out. They didn't put it in the fridge or the icebox or whatever the fuck you did in the 1800s to keep your shit cold. I don't know. Anyway, Luke is, and I don't mean to, listen, if you are a gay man out there, I don't mean to put this on you, but I just feel like if I were a gay man, this would be... There's a little porn set into this episode, and it is Luke and Luke's hands, and later, and we'll get there, Luke's entire vibe. But the way this man's hand fits around Jesse's neck, Jenny, is a thing of incredible beauty. I would love to find out what it's like if Riley and Luke put their palms up against each other. Who's got the bigger one? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
So we'll try to gather this data for you. If you're at some cons and you feel comfortable asking either of these two very, very kind gentlemen if they wouldn't mind measuring from the tip of their middle finger to the base of their palm, just send that information in to us. And should we get both measurements, we'll let you know.
According to the internet, Mark Lucas is 6'2" and Brian Thompson is 6'3". Are these accurate? Nobody fucking knows. But I feel like Mark is around that, and I feel like Brian is around that. And, if we make some sort of like proportionate kind of extrapolations, one might assume that ever so fractionally, Brian Thompson might have bigger hands, but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be far more effective and satisfying to get them to put their hands
up
together
against each other. Yes.
That would be
nice. if they'll let you do a tracing of their hand, you could send that into us as well. That would
and then
be more
you'd
fun.
have a nice souvenir for the fridge.
Yeah, and you could make a little turkey out of it after and hang it on your fridge.
The biggest turkey.
The biggest turkey feeds a family of 10. Okay. The library. Now we're really into click, click, clacking. Willow is at the, what does Giles call it? Dread machine. We're at the dread machine.
It's not a machine whose business is dread. He doesn't say it like that. He says it's a machine that he finds dreadful.
Yeah, Giles famously hates a computer.
Okay, Willow is just hacking her way through these city plans. You know what else she's doing, Kristin? Zooming and zooming and zooming some more. And therefore, I must say, enhance.
Holy hocus pocus, get it into focus. Enhance, enhance, enhance. A simple incantation to bring illumination. Enhance, 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 enhance.
Wow. An X-Files jingle here in Buffering the Vampire Slayer. Now we know anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get Scully at your bedside inside buffering, but will we get enhance, enhance, enhance? Absolutely.
Will you change Scully? Will you change the name Scully out for Oz when Oz is later at Angel's bedside? You know what I mean? Oz at Angel's bedside could be a twist.
I do. There's a lot of bedside sitting. Buffy is at Riley's bedside. That'll definitely change it for her.
Okay, so we learned that Willow accidentally, hard quotes, decrypted the city council's security system. This is important information for us to know because...
Easy as unbuttoning a few of the top buttons of your shirt.
Yes, exactly. We're getting our like foundation for our Scoobies here. Obviously, we know Giles's vibe. We're learning that Willow has a skill set of her own, and we are also learning that Xander is deeply insecure and is unable to make his peace with not being as powerful as some of the other folks he is around. Now, the first time through our run, we only had what we were seeing of Xander, so we exclusively dragged Xander. We will be still dragging Xander, but with more context.
As we did.
With more context than we were able to the first time. But this moment where Buffy realizes that, Luke did come out of nowhere in the crypt. he must have come from down in the lair, and there must be an entrance in the crypt. And she explains, like, she's going to go and do this, and Xander cannot go. He is simply but a human. He is not a slayer. His immediate response is just feeling like a piece of shit. He says, I'm inadequate and I am less than a man. And this is something to keep track of, because Xander's feelings of inadequacy will cause some very problematic behaviors from our guy for the episodes and seasons to come. And here is its very first appearance.
Willow, on the other hand, is happy to help in areas that she can help. Giles is like, help me with research.
Yeah.
Xander can't participate in research for some reason. Or just won't.
He's a boy.
Like, yeah. Oh, right. Research is for girls and librarians.
Yes.
I really loved as Buffy is leaving this, do I have to tell you to be careful?
Mm-hmm.
And she looks back and says nothing. It feels like they're becoming Slayer and Watcher.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I also felt the same way about the sunglasses Buffy is wearing in the next scene. Beautiful 1997 sunglasses.
Her top secret mission sunglasses.
Yes.
No one will recognize her.
Like, this cross is massive around her neck. This is like classic Buffy Summers, like classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When like, if a person doesn't know anything about the show and you say Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the like snapshot in their mind, I think for a lot of people, is like this vibe. Maybe not the sunglasses, but the like black V-neck, the 1997 hair, and this huge silver cross. She is walking off school campus because she has shit to do. But Principal Flutie sees her and says, nobody leaves campus. He says, are we clear? And Jenny, every time I watch the scene, I want her to say Crystal, because I am a child of the 80s and 90s, and The Breakfast Club meant a lot to me. And she doesn't say Crystal. She just says, we're clear. And then she's not a sensible girl with her feet on the ground because she flies once and done.
Something caught on my brain when Principal Flutie said, maybe that's how they do things in England. Or Britain. They've got that royal family and all kinds of problems. I was like, what kind of problems did the royal family have at this time? And what had happened 8 months prior to this episode airing was that Princess Diana's divorce from Prince Charles was finalized. But then what happened 5 months after this episode aired was that Princess Diana would die due to injuries sustained in a car crash.
Yeah, really precipitated by paparazzi and some pretty insane shit. That's good context, because I actually wasn't sure what was going on. I would have hoped and assumed that it wasn't a reference to what happened after, but wild that had not happened yet. I think in my mind that had already happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the hallway, and this is really interesting, LaToya wrote in her production notes that the episode for The Harvest was a bit short, which makes sense, like in terms of like how much runtime they had, because it's a pilot and it's 2 parts. So really they're aiming for like, whatever the minutes are, an hour and a half, less commercials. But this scene about keeping a secret in the hallway was shot all the way when they were shooting Prophecy Girl. So I guess they had shot the whole season before. Well, we know that because, right, the credits have so many scenes from episodes that are forward. So this was shot much later, and they had to comb Nicholas Brendan's hair down to make it look like it matched season 1 hair. And there are a couple of other scenes in this episode. The one where the master puts his fingernail in Colin's eye, that was added. Sure.
Shocking.
Which I guess, and when I read that, I was like, that's such a weird scene to add, because the master, like getting the master all suited up. And then I was like, oh, but it's episode 12. Like they probably just had the master. So they were like, yeah, right. Put your fucking finger in this guy's eye.
While you're in there.
Yeah, while you're there. And then also this scene at the end with Angel, like she did it. That was an extra from taped way, way after The Harvest was taped. So that's fun behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah. You can kind of tell that this scene got added after the fact because nothing super consequential. It's like, okay, we're keeping a secret and that feels weird. And the implication is that Xander isn't going to go to class.
Right.
But this isn't like vital stuff.
And there's a little bit of like, there's a really fun exchange at the very end where Willow says, Buffy's okay, she can handle it. And Xander says, yeah, I think so. And Willow says, so do I. And you're like, you just said that. And it's, I think, very much there to show us that they're already concerned about Buffy, because they just met. And so it's like it does a little bit of a lift, but right. You're correct. It doesn't do anything massively important.
Okay. Back to the crypt. Buffy re-enters and clocks this entrance to the tunnels, and there's a big chain and a lock on it. And who should pop out from the shadows but Angel?
There he is. The first shot of him, he's like fixing the cuffs on his fucking sleeves. And I'm like, what are we doing, sir? Who are you right now? What are you playing at?
I love that he mentions that they don't like him down there.
Yeah. And then he just proceeds to kind of like drag Buffy as his, I guess, way of flirting or trying to get in good with her. Let's just hear this exchange between the two of them. And for those of you, many of you who know Angel well, you will delight. And who is this guy?
I knew you'd figure out this entryway sooner or later. Actually, I thought it was gonna be a little sooner.
Sorry you had to wait. Okay. Look, if you're gonna be popping up with this cryptic wise man act on a regular basis, can you at least tell me your name?
Angel.
Angel. It's a pretty name.
Don't go down there.
Deal with my going.
You shouldn't be putting yourself at risk. Tonight is the harvest. Unless you can prevent it, the master walks.
Well, if this harvest thing is such a suckfest, why don't you stop it?
'Cause I'm afraid.
Okay, why do you think he really isn't participating? Do you think this is all because he doesn't want to be outed as a vampire because he's in love with Buffy, but the Master and Darla know him, and maybe Luke, but we don't know.
It's so weird.
And they blow up his spot.
Maybe. It's so weird to me that she doesn't know he's a vampire. Like, I don't know. I just
he's always creeping about,
fixing his fucking sleeve cuffs. I don't know, but
wearing satin.
But also, like, what's bizarre is that we know he's there to like help Buffy, like ultimately, but it, again, not to like bang this gong too many times, it doesn't seem like the show has decided that yet, because right now it feels like the story is very much like, what can this girl do, you know, because he's sort of, I think he wants to see, is she going to go in, is she going to fucking try to stop this, is she going to be able to stop this? But the Angel that we know, of course, would be working to stop this just like automatically. And we know that this isn't just a random set of vampires, like these are this is his grandfather. He has a special way of stopping. You know, you have more power to stop your grandfather than you do stopping just a random old man.
Oh my God. I have a question too.
Okay, great.
Okay. When we see the door into the access point, huge chain, big lock.
Uh-huh.
So when Luke came in the previous episode, and then he hopped out of the coffin really quick, that chain like probably wasn't there. He had taken it off to come in or whatever. And then did he double back at a later time to like laboriously thread the chain through the door grate? Okay.
Honestly, that's probably Colin's job. I think Colin gets all the shittiest jobs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, Jenny, how much did you laugh or cry when Buffy says, do you know what it's like to have a friend, Angel, who has been so snarky from the moment we've seen him, is automatically devastated by this question.
He's transformed into the Angel we know.
Yeah, that's
in
the
an
moment
instant.
It happens. He's like,
that's when he truly becomes Angel, and he's like, oh no,
I don't have any friends. Oh.
And then the score is like working overtime here. You know, it's all like, I don't remember exactly what it's doing, but if it was going do 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 do, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. And she goes to the little hole that has a full set of stairs attached to it, which we'll learn shortly.
Full set of stairs and one rat who will, for a very affordable rate, run directly over your foot.
Do you think that Angel like gets like pangs of like wanting to grab the rats and eat them still when he hears their squeaking? Like, do you think it takes a while to get that out of your system after eating rats for so long?
Yeah, I'm not even convinced that he's fully done eating rats.
He has one for a little treat every once in a while.
Yeah, his cheat day.
Squeak day. Call it Squeak day.
Squeak day. This is really the question. How did Angel get in here? Did he pick the lock? Did he come up from beneath, pick the lock, and then relock it? Did he come in last night when it was dark out and then just wait? Or did he little match girl himself through the cemetery and into the script?
It's daylight. I'm going with option B. Angel sat in the corner. That's why he had to fix his shirt cuffs, get himself tidied up. Okay, so like you said, rat over boot. I love that she like takes her sunglasses off of her head to get into like fight mode. Something that I do not think see a lot of ever again is this Buffy POV cam. Like we're like getting her vision as we walk down through the tunnels. And then, who's here? Did Angel and Xander have a meet cute before Xander came down into the tunnels?
I don't think that they did, because I think he would have brought it up, and I think they would have had a little verbal sparring match, and I think Xander would be scarred. I do love that, like, there's something that feels special within the confines of this podcast of like jump scare, it's Xander. And furthermore, it really reminded me, because we have, at the time of this taping, we've been watching all of My So-Called Life.
Yes.
In group watches with our patrons on the 30th anniversary of each episode. And the number of times Patty Chase has gone, oh, it's just Brian Krakow. Every time Brian Krakow mysteriously appears in her house.
Does it?
It really felt of a piece with the Xander jump scare.
Just the classic response you have to the problematic nice guy, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
So she's explaining to Xander all of the things you can use. You can use crosses. You can use garlic, stake to the heart. She has a cross for Xander. That's nice. I write in my notes, he turns on a flashlight and she says, wrong show, buddy. Turn that shit off. There is sunlight. There is beheading. There is holy water, the usual. And then she tells us this story about this quarterback, yeah.
I feel like it was left tackle.
Yeah, of course, quarterbacks are smaller usually, right? They're this is a big beefy football player who had a really thick neck, and all she had was an X-Acto knife. Show me the footage, because that takes patience. You know, I want to see what her technique was there.
I thought about it more than I liked thinking about it. You know what I mean? And how this is a great metaphysics question. How much do you have to sever that? Like, if you get a 90% separation head to neck, does that count as decapitation? Like, at what point do they dust, or does it have to be absolutely complete severance,
clean through? Like when a woodchuck is going through a tree, and they
or a lumberjack.
Yeah, but I prefer to think about a woodchuck over a lumberjack in this instance, because they chew and then they back up to see, is it going to fall? And then they go back and they chew a little bit more, you know, and they don't ever bite all the way through. So
the thing is that a woodchuck is a groundhog.
Oh, so a beaver? A beaver.
Yes.
Jenny, no, we do not have time for fucking beaver and woodchuck facts right now. And I know that's what your face is doing. And now everyone's mad at me. What are your beaver and woodchuck facts?
No, I'm just texting you a really important picture that I just found.
Jenny has texted me a picture of, is this a woodchuck?
Yeah, this is a groundhog basically doing the master's hands from earlier in the episode.
It really is doing the master's hands. I'll try to remember to put that up on socials for you guys.
Thank you. That would mean a lot to me, your co-host and best friend.
So my favorite pan, maybe, I think there's one more that involves a doily that'll come up in season 2, if I'm remembering correctly. That I remember saying doily pan down in season 2. So maybe not my favorite, but one of my favorite transitions in the series is this panning over from the lair, and then like the edge of the lair becomes the Dewey Decimal System, and we're in the library. A+.
This looks great. Works really well.
Really, the only thing important happening for me in this scene is that Giles is putting his glasses on while reading and wearing a pinky ring, and I need to take a deep breath and have a cold glass of water.
Yes, that is good. The thing that this scene really brought up for me is, who fucking made all these prophecies about Sunnydale?
Nostradamus.
No, it's not Nostradamus.
Yes, Stradamus.
Nolene Stradamus.
Somebody with a crystal ball.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I don't know, Jenny. Whoever writes books, so I guess a bunch of white men, you know?
When you said whoever writes books, I thought you meant us. I was like, we wrote a book.
Yes. In this timeline, we are allowed to write a book as well.
Right. We are famously not men, though.
Famously. Oh my God, it's time for fucking Harmony in the computer lab.
Yay.
Harmony, this blew my fucking mind. Harmony is wearing a shirt with a goddamn unicorn in it. Unicorn on it. First fucking scene ever. Incredible consistency.
She's
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
She's got her things.
Yeah, she does. The bronze has Friday Night No Cover, which will immediately conflict with the incredibly hunky bouncer standing outside counting his cash later. The bronze.
Maybe those are his bribes for
letting in underage kids.
All age. It's all age.
It's
okay,
all ages.
I don't know.
Yeah. So Cordelia is telling Harmony about the night before. This will stand in stark contrast to the last scene in this episode, of course. And, you know, Cordelia is like, and then Buffy and her steak. And she's such a weirdo. And they're so mad that they have to devise programs because, as Cordelia says, isn't that what nerds are for? Willow's researching the earthquake of 1937, which I do have some facts on when we get there.
Ooh.
And then Jenny, who the fuck pops out?
It's our buddy Stephen Smith with really long, lustrous, shiny hair. Amber waves of grain.
So this is Jenny's friend, and the first interview we ever did in Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod gave us advice on asking everybody we could ask about interviews, really shaped our approach to getting some of,
shaped Kristin's approach. My approach is still, I would absolutely not want to bother anyone. But Kristin wants to ask everybody.
But yeah, I mean, we asked Armin Shimmerman right after this, and he said yes. And, you know, we asked everyone from the Seth Greens to the Cheesemans of the show.
David Wells.
The seed of that came from Stephen Smith. And I'm going to link the interview with Stephen in the show notes today. And you can listen to that if you want to, because it's very fun. And we learn from Stephen, though I'm sure that most of you also know this, that he did this very small role, and we'll see him again in the Pack, I believe, is when he comes back. This scene they overdubbed because his voice was simply not surfery enough. So it's another man's voice.
Yeah. Willow tries to defend Buffy's honor. Cordelia is like, who gave you permission to exist? And then Willow has the last laugh when she tricks Cordelia into deleting what she was just working so hard on.
How do we save it? Deliver. That is fast.
So quick
thinking. Yes, that is fast thinking. And that's beautiful because we've only seen Cordy drag Willow up to this point. So it's nice to now see that Willow's got some bite to bite back with.
Support for today's episode comes from OneSkin. Did you know your body starts accumulating senescent cells as early as your 20s? These are also called zombie cells.
Ooh, perfect for Halloween.
I know, except you don't want them. These cells stop producing collagen and hyaluronic acid and start secreting an inflammatory substance that makes neighboring cells dysfunctional too. There is an answer for these zombie cells, though, and it comes from our friends at OneSkin.
Cut off their heads. Just kidding.
No.
Founded by an all-woman team of scientists, OneSkin is the first and only skin longevity company to target cellular senescence, a key hallmark of aging, with their proprietary OS1 peptide. OS1 is scientifically proven to decrease lines and wrinkles, boost hydration, and help with the thinning skin that often comes with age. You don't have to take our word for it, though our word is thumbs up all around. Two girls, 4 thumbs over here, all facing upwards toward the sky because we love this face cream. We love this lotion. But it's not just us. They have over 4,000 5-star reviews for their full line of face, body, sun, and travel size products.
OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off using code BUFFERING at oneskin.co.
That's 15% off at oneskin.co with code BUFFERING. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them, and hey, why don't you tell them you heard about them from us? Buffering, a Rewatch Adventure.
For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. And when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Okay, so they know they're getting close down in the tunnels because there are no more rats, which I like that little fact, so that even the rats are like, fuck this shit. You guys heard about Angel? We got to get out of here. I think these vampires could fucking drain us at any moment. And then Jesse does the old fucking trickaroo and is like, oh, hey, man. Oh, God, get me out of these chains. I thought you'd never get here. I'll show you the way out. And instead shows them into a fucking tiny little corner where they can't get out. And all of the very thriller-esque vamps are coming for them.
Slow-moving zombie-esque vampires. This one that we the first thing we see of them is from behind their hand, and we see the sort of translucent fingernail claws, and then we see the face, and it's kind of more demonic than we're used to seeing the vampires look. Also, this vampire looks a little bit like Shauna Shipman did its makeup.
Oh my God, Jenny, too soon. Too soon.
Then when we see the glowing eyes kind of wavering in the distance, down a dark hallway, that practical effect, we never see stuff like that again. Yeah, but I'm happy that it's here.
Yeah. Jesse is this is what I remember of vampires in the 90s, actually. The euphoria of turning into a vampire, I feel was a big part of vampirism as portrayed in the 90s. Just I can smell everything. I can see everything. Very much like how I felt when I did mushrooms for the first time is how I imagine you might feel when you turn into a vampire. I too can hear the worms in the earth.
Hear the worms
on
in
mushrooms.
the earth. Yeah. Totally. Everyone can.
So they get Jesse out and they barely close the door. And there's a vent. This is Die Hard. This is Toombs from the X-Files. This is Scully, season 1, shooting her gun for the first time. How many vents can we be in television and media?
It really stressed me out watching Xander go up because he is wearing a really, really long wallet chain.
Yes, he is.
I was like, that is the perfect thing to grab onto and yank this boy down. Thankfully, it doesn't happen, but I was sweating for a second.
And Buffy is behind him, so at least, there's only a quick moment. Also, my question about the ductwork is, what is the ductwork in the lair for? Did the master install central air? You know what I mean? What's happening with the ductwork down here? That's all.
I think that the city infrastructure is just sort of like bumping up against this
lair.
This caved in, earthquake swallowed old house of worship.
Got it. They get out, they make it, and it's sunny outside, so it means the vampires can't follow them, and they're in the Sunnydale power plant. For those of you keeping track at home, please mark on your maps that Sunnydale has a power plant.
Oh my God, Kristin, you know that feeling when she walks free when I should be drinking her heart's blood right now?
I think I do, actually. That feels relatable. Oh, God. He's not deterred, though. She's not going to stop the harvest. She's going to just be a delicious, delicious treat when I get to the surface.
Is his snout this wrinkly all season?
Jenny, you asked the same question in Welcome to the Hellmouth. Yeah.
I was like, is he going to look like this bat-like for the rest of the season?
Yes,
it's really weighing on me.
Jenny can't remember what she said in 2016, but she also can't remember what she said last episode, so we're doing great.
Okay.
Is Luke ready? Oh, for what? I can't wait to find out what Luke needs to be ready for. He sticks his fingernail in Colin's eye. And then we go to the library and we learn about the big earthquake in 1937, which is factual, Jenny. There was a massive earthquake in 1937. I just assumed it was in Santa Barbara, of course, because, we've come to accept that Santa Barbara is Sunnydale and Sunnydale is Santa Barbara. But the epicenter was actually a bit further away in something called the Terwilliger Valley. It was a 6.0 earthquake, March 25th, 1937. Not that far off from the actual anniversary here of the airing of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But it was so big that it was felt over an area of more than 10,000 square miles. That's how big this fucking earthquake was. So they would have definitely felt it in Sunnydale / Santa Barbara.
Yeah. Huge news, Kristin. Back from a long, late night of clubbing in Berlin, Luke is ready to take off his jacket, revealing practically baby doll-esque capped sleeves and that necklace and Arms City population D's guns.
This is the gayest shit I have ever seen in my entire life.
Fellas, is it gay to kneel and bite the wrist of your master, drinking deep of his blood, as he intones,
"My blood is your blood. My soul is your soul."
And then you reply,
"My body is your instrument."
Wow.
Is it?
Wow. We did not decide what the general vibe is with sexual tension yet. If you're voting, if you're not, what we're doing. But there's simply no more sexual tension that can be had in the 2-part pilot than Luke and the Master. There is simply no more that can be had. So it's a landslide. You don't need to vote. We know what the answer is.
It was foretold by the Sunnydale Nostradamus and cemented firmly by the little bloody thumb drawing of a symbol that the Master makes on Luke's forehead.
Oh my God.
Making him the vessel.
The vessel. None of our business.
None of our business.
Also, canonically, Darla loves gay porn, is what I learned in this scene.
Yeah, Darla is loving this, and that feels right.
It absolutely does. Like, Darla will change in a lot of ways as we get more of her as the season goes on and the series gets a spinoff. But like, Darla, I think, definitely loves gay porn. I mean, this makes absolute sense with everything I know about Darla.
And good for her.
Okay, so yeah, every soul. What happens, guys, when you're gay and you are the vessel? Any soul you take will feed the master. So that's how gay sex works. In case anyone out there was confused.
Yeah, until vending machines get involved in a few seasons.
I think the last thing that the master says, or at least the last thing I wrote in my notes, is the stars themselves will hide, which I'm going to imagine Jenny is also a second take. Like he might have said like the stars will disappear from the sky. And they said, no, take it back. I want to do it better. I want to do it more dramatic.
Back at the library, Xander and Buffy return, reporting the worst possible news about Jesse. Giles is like, info drop. 60 years ago, a powerful vampire came here to open the Hellmouth and bring the demons back, but there was an earthquake and now he's trapped like a cork in a bottle. The harvest comes once per century on this very night. Why? Don't you feel like magic should be able to just like get done whenever?
No, because magic also aligns with stars and suns and moons and shit, you know?
Oh, yeah, no, I do like celestial
yeah, you gotta have like planets aligned, and Saturn has to be, and the moon,
but also
in the southern half, and Jupiter.
The heavens don't do the same thing once per century. Like that's not how the heavens line up.
I'm fucking Galileo Young's over here.
Yes. As a matter of fact, yes.
Important moment in this scene before we get all of the information that Jenny is telling you, I think also is that Xander is very angry. He like kicks a garbage can in the back of the library. He's just lost his friend Jesse. Willow and Xander are getting like a crash course in what this whole world is. And Willow is, we heard her even at the top, like, I need to sit down. You are sitting down. Like she's having her own struggles with it. But Xander is the only one of the two of them who has like really come face to face with this death of he witnessed Jesse in vamp form and what have you. So, just like the real side of what these 16-year-olds, Buffy included, are facing. Also, Jenny, shout out to the dry erase board. I was so excited to see that Giles was beginning his infamous career as somebody who will sketch things in black marker for us every once in a while. Hellmouth? On the dry erase board, like the only thing you can really see is Hellmouth, underlined twice, 2 questions mark. 2 question marks.
Ooh, I like questions mark. Okay. Xander reasons that this is going to be going down at the Bronze. That's where all the tasty young morsels hang out. Buffy's going to swing home for some supplies while it's still light out. Joyce not having it. You can't go out tonight. I got a call about you missing classes.
Fucking Flutie, man. Put down the phone. She didn't even do anything.
Narc.
She just looked like she might. And Mr. Giles told her to. She needed a book. One thing in between the library and Buffy's room, we get another rarity, a sunset shot, just to let us know.
I liked this a lot.
Yeah. Also, Buffy's leather jacket. I'm pretty sure probably in 2016 I lost my shit about it.
This is the one. This is the one.
The one we all want. I still want this leather jacket. It is fucking gorgeous. Anyway.
You know your blue trunk in the closet?
Yeah.
It's got little stuffies and trophies in the top, the decoy rack, right? And then you remove that. And what's under there? Okay, we got steaks. We got holy water. We got crosses. We got garlic. And then we have an enormous cylinder of communion wafers. What's the plan?
With the communion wafers, I think you just you press them into the skin of a vampire just when you're like when you don't need to kill them, but you're just annoyed. It's kind of like flicking somebody in the nose, like you're just like annoyed with them, just like get out of here, stop it.
Okay.
You just press one on them, and they're like,
Okay. So she bags it all up, pops out the window. She's off. Ha! Joyce will be none the wiser.
Yeah. Now, hold on. Rewind the tape. And by tape, I do mean the one that Joyce has been listening to, because we do learn that Joyce is listening to parenting tapes. But my favorite piece of dialogue in this scene is this moment where Buffy's like, I have to go. And Joyce says, I know, it'll be the end of the world. Everything is life or death when you're a 16-year-old girl. Because that's a big heartbeat of the show, right? And it's it's very cool that the show is telling us to take Buffy very seriously because she's literally saving the world. But it's also like putting this spin on like taking the problems of a 16-year-old girl seriously in a way that I think is very fun. And it's what the whole series sits on is what if high school really was hell? You know, like what if that was actual truth? So I love that line. I just wanted to underline it twice in my dry erase marker.
It's also not far from the last time we'll see Joyce saying something and meaning something else. Like saying something that has a meaning for us that doesn't exist for her.
Totally. Oh, I also have one other important note from this scene, which is hot steak. I just think her steak is real sexy. It's like, a steak you want to make sure you get back after you've dusted a vamp. It's very nice.
Totally. Don't leave it in there while the thing dusts.
Yeah. All right. To the bronze, Batman.
Cordelia is
Cordetting
for sure. And she's all senior boys, this, having the most expensive thing, that, not letting anyone else talk except for her. And then she's interrupted by a desperate need to dance to the song Wearing Me Down by Dashboard Prophets, which LaToya asserts this is not a song that Cordelia would love. And I have to back her up on that.
At least not this
just doesn't
much,
feel it doesn't feel like the song that will possess her.
Yeah, I don't know what that song would be, but I mean, apart from The Greatest Love of All, of course, but Natalie Imbruglia, maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah, Torn is Cordelia's jam.
Yeah, has Torn come out yet? I'm not so sure, but maybe.
Jesse got evil and therefore hot.
Jesse got immediate angel hair is what I wrote in my notes. Like the little known things about getting sired, you turn into a vampire, you don't need breath anymore, you need to feed on the blood of the living. You also get hair gel. It comes in the starter pack. You just pop that right in when you're ready and up you go to slurp on some ladies. Cordelia just needs somebody to tell her what to do is what I learned in this scene. Like that's
so it would seem.
Yeah, Just tell her. Just tell her to shut up. And she's like, yes, sir.
Oh, my. This rolls right from Wearing Me Down into a different Dashboard Prophets song, Ballad for Dead Friends.
So they just, because we know a band is not playing at the Bronze, so they just put the whole CD on.
Yeah.
They're just playing the whole thing. They're like, there's no cover tonight. Just throw on whatever you got back there.
Yeah. Okay, while this is going on.
The bouncer and Luke together is my personal gay porn pick. Like, they are just, who's beefier than who? You know what I mean?
This man looks so strong and has such incredible pectoral muscles.
And the tightest tank top ever worn, except for, is Luke's t-shirt tighter? It's a fucking...
Unknown.
I don't even know. It's a competition.
This actor is Teddy Lane Jr. And I looked him up because I was like, have I seen this guy? And I think the answer is yes. He's been in like one episode of everything. He's like one of those actors who's just been like steadily working for decades and just kind of like making the rounds and
cool,
appearing all over the place.
This is the way that the vamps approach before we like cut to commercial is very much like giving the craft, it's
for
like
sure
slow-mo schoolgirl, yeah.
The skipping and the smile and like the head toss.
Luke decides to take the bouncer inside with him because obviously obviously Luke has interest in being the vessel for the master via this hot man in a tank top. I wrote, now this is what I call a gay power couple.
Yes. Also, Luke, the drama queen that he is, has Colin cut the lights and music so he can say,
ladies and gentlemen, there is no cause for alarm.
And then Colin hits the spotlight right on Luke's face so that he can continue.
Actually, there is cause for alarm. It just won't do any good.
Jesse's face has changed. Cordy's gasping. Now here's the question. The Master has a Party City fucking leather jacket with the fucking strap like sewn to it. Luke has the most gorgeous jacket I have ever seen. So I don't know. I just
listen, the Master's got a full, it's not just vamp face, he's got vamp noggin with like the bat nose and everything.
Vamp noggin.
Yeah. So that's where the budget's going for Mark Metcalf, and then for Brian Thompson, the budget's going straight into the jacket. How did you enjoy as Luke feeds and we see the Master like looking like a little bit like he's like kind of getting electrocuted with something that he likes a lot?
Sounds like none of our business. Yes.
None of our business.
He looks like he's getting, sorry, this deserves a minute. He looks like he's getting electrocuted with something he likes a lot, is how Jennifer Owen Youngs will explain to you a look of pleasure on someone's face.
Imbued with power via blood by proxy. And his little, like, he's standing up a little straighter, and especially his hands are like shooting like downward, like his fingers are outstretched, and he's like, "Urgh."
Luke also like very notably strokes this bouncer's head.
Well, fear is like an elixir, Kristin. Get with the program.
Yeah, everybody is. This is a vampire, a mystical vampire threesome is happening right here.
Totally.
Okay, Scooby Gang is here. They're outside the bronze. Buffy is like, yo, you guys don't pull anything fucking funny. This is what I say to Avanti every time she leaves on tour. Don't be a hero. I always tell her, don't be a hero.
But she always is. Avanti doesn't know how to not be a hero.
Just do your job. Don't fucking jump in front of anything. Just don't be a hero. So Buffy's like, don't be a hero. Just open the door and let people out. I'm going to go in this way. You go in the back. Giles and Xander have an important exchange. This reminded me, I stopped watching The Walking Dead pretty soon after starting it. I think I made it through maybe 2 seasons. But this reminded me of like The Walking Dead vibes, right? Like you're not seeing the person you love, you're seeing the thing that killed them. And you have to remember that because especially in this universe, they look, unless they vamped out, they look just like they looked.
Or they might look like they looked, but hotter.
That's true. They look. They don't look just like they always look hotter. They do always look hotter. Inside the bronze, I have people are dying and the Master is touching his wobbly bubble. He's saying, I am almost free.
Wibble bubble. Wibble wobble. Give me more.
Darla takes Cordelia from Jesse. She's up next.
I have a mid-chat question here. If the vampire minions could have just gotten it together to bring like a bunch of people down for the Master to drink all in a row, could he have just popped out of the bubble?
I think so. I think he just needed to get strong enough. But, you know, I think maybe he wanted to get strong, but also wanted to have Luke be his vessel. Like, I don't...
Okay.
I think it serves his interests as well to not feed...
None of my business.
Too
all
much,
right.
You know? On that note, Luke feels the Master's power growing and also feels the Master rising. Okay, sure, guys. It's an incredibly heterosexual show. Colin up at the lighting rig sees Buffy. Buffy sees Luke has a little fucking symbol. That looks like the one Giles drew on his head.
Oh, yep.
And then... I'm sorry, but Luke says my favorite combination of 3 words in this 2-part pilot. We'll see if any combination of 3 words outseats it. Degradation most holy. If I wasn't gay already, that would have made me gay.
Oh, yeah.
That actually is that when you look up gay in the dictionary, what does gay mean? Degradation most holy.
Okay, now.
Okay.
Okay. I'd like to say that Cordelia, and maybe we've said it before, I can't wait to find out. Watching Cordelia do this scream felt very satisfying. Great horror scream. It's not the like piercing intensity of Patricia Arquette, but what I do think it really, really communicates is like real fear that is sort of like so out of your control that she's sort of like all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, I called it a scream/wail. I think it's sort of like is the hybrid of the two. It's not pure scream. It's got some goes through a couple of different notes. You would probably know. You're the musician, but you know, she's kind of like screaming in a melodic fashion. Very afraid.
Once we get this Buffy entrance, she's wasting all kinds of energy. She's flipping off the balcony. She's flipping off the pool table. I have something for us.
There's a stake of convenience here, but yes, continue.
There's a stake of convenience, and she uses it to dust what I'm calling a red fang.
A red fang? Like a red shirt?
Exactly.
Wow.
A vampire that has like nothing to do with anything. They're just sort of there to get dusted. What do you think?
I love it. Stake of convenience, red fang. God. Whew, so much to remember.
See, it's good we're doing the podcast again, actually.
Also, I would have, I think, immediately clocked red fang as red shirt, except for I also had a note about this vampire because this is a vampire that notably does not dust, or if it does, it dusts like way late because the pool cue is just like sticking out of its body. We can't see it. Like we can't see it.
Kind of like, it looks like he's like falling over. And my guess is that if we were actually seeing it, if they had the budget and the time and whatever, that he would have dusted upon impact as he hit the ground.
Like Luke. Would that mean Luke does kind of last for a minute before Luke dusts too?
Well, he's big and strong.
He is so big and so strong. I love him.
She fights with Luke. They fight and fight and fight and fight.
Scoobies are in. Xander is getting everybody out. Right, that during the fight, we get a beautiful shot of Luke's midriff, and I love it. His shirt goes up a little bit, and I was like, nice.
Oh my gosh. We get the cymbal decapitation. Now, this is the place where we really could have asked a question that comes later when we talk about Revelations and the force, the velocity, everything that would be required for a piece of glass to sever a human arm. Now we've got a question of what about the force and velocity, etc. of a cymbal decapitating a vampire. We would kind of need to know the density. Like, is there a difference between the force required to sever the neck of a vampire versus the force required to sever the neck of a human being who's alive?
I mean, also, like, a cymbal seems so much more suited for this purpose than a piece of glass, you know?
Except that the edge of a cymbal is not sharp. It's just
flat.
Round.
Yeah. Well, you know, right into us.
Right.
If you have any math.
Let us know.
Yeah. So Buffy has what I would like to refer to as a Pete Russo moment in this episode where she is so pleased with herself for beheading this vamp with a cymbal that she's just standing there smiling, and Luke comes up right behind her and starts to squeeze her to death.
Well, wouldn't you be so proud of yourself in that moment?
Yes. If you don't know about my father, he used to love playing the game Catchphrase, and when somebody would guess the thing he was trying to get them to guess, he would just absolutely flourish his hand but never let go of the catchphrase game. So he would often lose the game because he would be sort of so proud of himself that the timer would go off and he'd still be holding it.
Iconic Pete stuff.
Yeah. So everybody's kind of got their situation, right? Xander has found Jesse and Cordelia. He's dealing with that. Darla has tackled Giles. Hot.
Wouldn't you?
I mean, hot in every direction there. And then obviously, Buffy is tussling with Luke. Willow saves Giles by using her little thing of holy water.
Nice, Willow.
We don't know if I want to believe that Xander would have staked Jesse. Like, I think he might have like had to go for another round or two, but I think he would have done it. But we never get the answer because he's holding his stake up to Jesse, and some random girl just bumps into Jesse, pushing him into the stake and therefore dusting him.
Again, I have questions about the force required to pierce the chest of a vampire with a stake, but whatever. A question for another day. Then Buffy does this little sunrise fake out, throwing a cymbal stand through the window.
The cymbal is so pivotal in this episode. Every piece of it is used,
right?
You know, just like the chickens in the last episode of the X-Files that we covered. I called this the Hocus Pocus trick. I just have to say that. I think Hocus Pocus came out.
Oh, yeah.
No, it came before this, but this is the Hocus Pocus trick of, just kidding. You don't even know what a light bulb is, loser.
Hocus Pocus is 93.
Yeah,
So
this is a Hocus Pocus trick. Great. And Buffy, and I'm so upset about it. Buffy stakes Luke, and I'm like, listen, on my 14th viewing of this series, but my second really proper viewing, I really wish we had Luke for longer. Luke has been a delight in a way that I miss, especially knowing that later we're going to get, I'm so sorry.
The Anointed One?
The Anointed One. I'm like, dude, can we have just brought Luke back somehow, please?
Look, and we love Andrew Furchland. What a peach.
Of course.
What a sweet guy.
But Luke is just so hot and so good at being Luke that it's really sad to me that
I would have liked to see Luke and the Anointed One.
Oh my!
In some I would love the idea of even though he was too old for it, Luke wearing him in a backpack.
Right. Or very kindergarten cop vibes of just Luke not knowing what to do with this child and
totally. The wibble wobble bubble will remain intact.
Phew.
For another day. The master's like, no. We get the Buffy hero shot from the credits. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And just as he always fucking is, Angel in the goddamn shadows.
Saying, shh, she did it. I'll be damned.
While standing in front of a sign that just says watch your step for no clear reason. But the end of this. So there's a scene at the school. But before that, the moment at the Bronze, after. Oh, I'm sorry, Jenny. You look like you have something to say.
No, I'm there. I have something to say about Inside the Bronze. But
Okay. Inside the Bronze, I had a lot of feelings. We have Giles and Willow and Buffy all together, and Xander. I take it it's over. Did we win? Well, we averted the apocalypse. I give us points for that. One thing's for sure. Nothing's ever going to be the same. And it just felt very, I don't know, 7th grade yearbook to me. I love them. And I'm so happy to be here again.
And I'm thankful that someone took the time to move all of the drained dead bodies out of this shot. It's a pretty wide shot of the Bronze's floor that we're seeing from above as we're looking at them having this conversation. There were definitely bodies that I clocked in this area before this shot.
They just cut the scene where Xander said, "Quick, get out!" But everyone take one body.
Everyone
with you.
take one body. That's the cost of your escape.
Yeah, that's your party favor. Please just take one body as you go. And then we go back to Sunnydale. This is a perfect end to the pilot. Everybody's sort of back, but everybody has changed, right? Cordelia, first and foremost, is saying, I heard it was, first of all, Cordelia, I heard it was rival gangs. Oh my God. Gangs in the 90s, it's a whole thing. We don't have time. All I can tell you is that they were an ugly way of looking, and Buffy knew them. I was like, am I in my so-called life right now, the way that Cordelia is talking?
Does anyone really know the vampires?
But you can tell that Cordelia is singing a different song.
And she's like, you should have been there.
Yeah, you should have been there. You should have seen it. And then we get the Scoobies.
The dead rose. We should have at least had an assembly.
Yeah, there was a dead guy in the locker, and all they did was cancel Jim.
Exactly.
Giles explaining people rationalize. And this is important, right? We know that at least the students at Sunnydale on some level know what's going on. You know, they're going to pick it up. They know what's going on in their town, and then they will slowly start to learn that Buffy is protecting them. But in some sense, they just rationalize the rest of it away so they can continue living. And that's true. That's what we all do, right? We know about a lot of bad shit, and we also have to like get fucking groceries, and you know what I mean? Like you kind of have to not rationalize, but you kind of have to put things somewhere so that you can function. Mm-hmm. Are we gonna play the last few things that these guys say to each other?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Well, we prevented the bastard from freeing himself and opening the mouth of hell. Not to say he's going to stop trying. I'd say the fun is just beginning.
More vampires?
Not just vampires. The next threat we face may be something quite different.
I can hardly wait.
We are at the center of a mystical convergence here. We may, in fact, stand between the Earth and its total destruction.
Well, I gotta look on the bright side. Maybe I can still get kicked out of school.
Oh yeah, that's a plan, because a lot of schools aren't on Hellmouths.
Maybe you could blow something up. They're really strict about that.
I was thinking of a more subtle approach, you know, like excessive not studying.
The Earth is doomed.
This is why people rewatch Buffy over and over again, okay? And I probably am the last person who can say this, because really, truly, this is like my first real rewatch as a fan, but like I'm really getting it, because knowing that this line from Giles is going to come all the way the fuck back around in the last episode of this series is chilling. There's this measure of trust that you have in the series when you've watched it once through, and it's just like, they're going to know what to do with all of this to make us feel all the feelings that we deserve to feel. They're going to use this moment they gave us in the pilot in a way that will pack probably the biggest punch that it could pack. It's seeing the beginning and knowing it will be there for us in the end is beautiful. And it just makes me so happy that, you know, I mean, I only have one person to thank for this, and it's my best friend, Jenny Owen Youngs.
This guy
who was relentless at making sure that I watched this television show, even though I didn't want to at first. And now I'm just like, what a fucking gem of a thing.
What would you do without it?
Yeah, truly.
It's kind of incredible, too, that they make the choice in the finale not to put the Earth is definitely doomed at the end, like not to make the callback at the very end of the finale.
Right.
But rather like as they're preparing to go into this final battle. You know, it's not, it just feels like richer.
Well, because nice. If you think about it, right, it comes at the end of this pilot episode as they're preparing to go into 7 seasons worth of battle. And so it in some way does kind of fall in the same place. It's like before all of these battles and then before the final battle.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Love this show, man.
It's so
I love this show.
It's just so good. It's just never-endingly good. But please, somebody play that sound clip back to me when we meet Adam in season 4. Like, obviously, we have our moments.
Hey, listen.
I know. I mean, like, you know, it's everything beautiful is beautiful, inclusive of its flaws. So I think there's flaws. Of course, there's flaws, but it's just a stunning show, and I'm so happy. I'm just so happy.
We love it so much.
Oh my God, are you ready? Jenny, is it time? We have a segment. And it's called What Was Dawn Doing? And we are beginning at this episode, and it is where we get some feedback from you, and if we have opinions of our own, of course, we'll put them in, and we discuss what Dawn is here, at least inserted in the memories of every Scooby and Buffy and Joyce. What was she doing?
Was she at the mall? Was she at ballet? Was she drawn on a trapper keeper all day? Was she nursing a crush on a boy from PE? Was she writing it all down in her diary? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing? What was Dawn doing?
Okay, so first off, if you the Google Doc for Now and Then, that's a just public access. Good luck to us. We'll see how it goes kind of a vibe. What was Dawn doing? That's in Discord. So all of our patrons have access to our Discord. There's a special channel called What Was Dawn Doing? And Jenny, I'm an organized son of a bitch. So there's a thread for every fucking episode. Well, we're making the threads for the episodes as we go. So you can make a thread for the episode if you want to say what Dawn was doing in that particular episode. Establishing information. Thank you to our listener, Katie. She is 14 years old in season 5. Depending on where you place her birthday, she would be about 13-ish in season 4, 12-ish in season, working backwards. She's 10-ish in season 1. Please keep this in mind for your theories. Thank you, Katie. Important question, Jenny, that I will have you answer. Jules asks, okay, how long do you think it took for Dawn to figure out that Buffy was the Slayer, especially if she's Harriet the spying around? Somebody in this said she definitely knew before Joyce, which I'm going to say I agree with. She definitely sleuthed this out before Joyce knows by the end of season 2.
I could see it going either way. I could see her sniffing it out pre-Joyce, but I could also see a world in which, even though Dawn is like obsessed with Buffy and she like looks up to her and wants to be all up in her business, I could also see her being like, "What if you don't want to have me, you know, if you don't want to be sharing details with me, then I don't want to even know that. I don't want to even know the stupid details of your life. I'm going to be busy playing with my horses or whatever."
Right. My Little Pony. She's get outing right from the start.
Yes.
To that end, Colleen did say that she's making copies of Britney Spears macaroni art for her 4th grade art class.
Yes.
I love that. And then something else, a theory that I thought was really good, Jenny, is that she is definitely spending the first half of this season angry with Buffy because she has had to uproot her whole fucking life.
Definitely. Yeah, she misses Sarah, Tiffany, Angelique, her squad from LA.
Which brings me another tidbit. Is this where Dawn meets Janice? Did they have class together at Sunnydale Elementary School and they've just been besties ever since?
I think that's got to be it.
Right?
What else is Dawn up to?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, this is submitted by our listener, Kristin, and I promise you it's not me, but it's pretty great. It's a real narrative, okay? So This is what Kristin says Dawn was doing. Please buckle in. When Buffy gets home from the Bronze, Dawn is already asleep. The next morning, Joyce drops off Dawn at school first, as always. While Buffy reassembles with her new friends in the library, Dawn is meeting a new friend at school, Shannon, who also lives in her same neighborhood. Later, when her mom picks her up from school, Joyce gets a call on her car phone. That's my favorite part of this whole thing, is that Joyce has a car phone from Principal Flutie, informing her that Buffy left school grounds without permission. Dawn knows this means Buffy is going to be in trouble. And like any little sister who enjoys hearing their older sibling get in trouble, she later eavesdrops just outside of Buffy's room and hears Joyce grounding her. She runs off before her mom can see her listening, but soon comes back to continue. This is why we don't ever see her. Dawn hears Buffy opening a chest and shuffling things around inside. She hears the window open, which Dawn knows that's the sound of Buffy sneaking out. Once she hears Buffy go through the window, she sneaks inside Buffy's room for some younger sister snooping. She sees the chest on the floor and opens it. She sees an unreasonable amount of garlic, a gigantic container of communion wafers, crosses, and holy water. This confirms for Dawn that she is the weirdest sister on the planet. She ends the episode eating dinner with a stressed out Joyce before running off to her room to make another entry in the Dawnmeister Chronicles while listening to the sound of Joyce's parenting cassette tapes playing in the background from downstairs.
Wow. This is literature.
Yeah, it's literature.
No
and
notes.
I'm pretty sure I should have been more prepared to tell you about our listener, Kristin, but I'm pretty sure that This is our listener who, when I, said, hey, we're doing What Would Dawn Do, said, oh, I actually was writing the Dawnmeister Chronicles for episodes, but I was way ahead. So maybe I'll use this as my inspiration to go back into the earlier episodes. So I don't think this is the last we'll hear from Kristin with an
God,
I.
I hope not.
With an I, might I say. I always feel closer to Kristin's with an I. So thank you. Thank you, Kristin. Wow, Jenny. We did it. We talked about 2 parts of one premiere, and here we are.
And we had a great time doing it, and we looked great doing it. But 2 women in the bloom of youth, practically glowing with the joy of, in one case, ferrying human life into existence day by day, and in both cases with the joy of podcasting.
We do actually enjoy podcasting, and I know you meant it, but you sounded incredibly sarcastic.
No, I meant it so much that like most people in our cursed modern world can't even experience my authenticity and genuinity. Man, soon we're both going to have children. And that's when I've been really pushing Kristin on our new podcast motto, which is eat when the baby eats, sleep when the baby sleeps, edit the podcast when the baby edits the podcast. I'm really trying to make this happen. So join me, please, in chanting it at her at every opportunity. Thank you, beautiful listenership.
Today, Jenny was like, oh, I hate to break it to you, but you actually have to make a little music TikTok for every song in Buffering the Vampire Slayer. And I was like, TikTok when the baby TikToks?
Exactly.
Sure. No problem. All right, Jenny. Well, I mean, we're going to be back in a couple of weeks. Well, we'll be back next week with the finale of season 2 of The X-Files. But if you're here for Buffy and Buffy alone, in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about Which? Amy's mom. That witch.
Wow. I can't wait to get there.
Me either.
But for now,
you are also the mother of a child whose name is not Amy, but it does begin with the letter A.
It's true. I am Jenny Owen Youngs. And when I'm not watching Buffy and stuff, I'm making music. On November 22nd, which is 2 days from the day that this episode is going up, 2 things will happen. It will be my birthday. Hooray! And it will also be the day that I release the deluxe edition of my album, Avalanche. You can find it wherever you stream music. I dare you, if you think you have, what it takes to listen to some little songs about my feelings. I'll tell you what else. I also am playing my annual holiday stream, Tidings of Comfort and JOY, on December 10th. You can get details and tickets at JennyOwenYoungs.com. It's always a really, really good time. I love singing holiday music. And say hi on socials at Jenny Owen Youngs.
Wow. 2 more days until a deluxe album comes out. 2 more days until Jenny turns the same age as me. What a momentous time. You have 48 hours to enjoy this gap, Jenny. 48 hours.
A lot of people don't realize that actually when I hit my birthday, but it hasn't yet been your next birthday, I don't actually turn my full next age. The odometer does not turn over. I actually just become Jenny, current age, parenthetical, deluxe. And then on December 18th, when you are safely a year ahead, I then fully turn over.
Okay, great. My name is Kristin Nolene Russo. Sometimes I go by Kristin, always older than Jenny Russo.
Yes.
But that's a really long website to find.
Nolene is actually short for that.
Yeah. So you can find me when I'm not here talking to Jenny about all sorts of things. I am working with and for LGBTQ communities. You can learn more about my work, my queer movie club, my queer book club over at KristinNoline.com. That's KristinNoeline. You can use that spelling to also find me on socials.
Buffering a Rewatch Adventure is on socials at BufferingCast, and you can email us at hello@bufferingcast.com. And you can, if you care to think of it or to file this away in your mind, cultivate an awareness of our various podcast feeds. Oh no. Can you imagine a worse sentence than cultivate an awareness of our various podcast feeds?
No.
Buffering a Rewatch Adventure is our umbrella feed. If you want to listen to every single thing that we ever yap about, you can do that in Buffering a Rewatch Adventure, the pod feed. But if you like to keep things neat and tidy and you just want to listen to one podcast about one show at one time, you can find Buffering the Vampire Slayer and The X-Files and Doom coming and The Boiler Room.
Don't forget about Angel on Top.
And oh my God, of course, Angel on Top. All in their own tidy little, tucked into their little feeds, all cozy.
If you'd like to support the 100 billion podcasts that we make independently, might I add, you can help us do this work by supporting us on Patreon, patreon.com/bufferingcast. A lot of you have been coming over in the last couple of weeks. It's been really fun to see, I think, some of you returning and a lot of new folks joining that community. We have a really fun Discord, and the holidays are also a super fun time to be a patron. There are a couple of gift exchanges. I know that Joe Buckaflod, I don't know if that's how you say it, but our listener Lorena does an amazing book exchange every holiday season that I think both of us have been a part of, or at least I've been a part of. Have you done the book exchange? Yeah. So we're in the mix and everybody gets assigned to somebody and we all send each other books and it's really sweet and fun and lovely. And, you know, we watch movies together. We watch Buffy together. It's a good time. So come join us. Patreon.com/bufferingcast.
Oh, friends, this episode was produced by Kristin Russo, Jenny Owen Youngs, and LaToya Ferguson, with support from our consultant, Mackenzie McDade. It was edited by Kristin Russo, and before we play the song for the harvest and then talk a little bit about it afterwards, it brings me great pleasure to say, until next time,
Ow, ow, ow. Yeah, I got a little crazy. Deal with it.
All right.
So hey, about that harvest, well, it seems to be quite nigh. But first the master has to finish gouging out this minion's eye. Turns out Willow sure can hack, and Xander likes to tag along. Giles takes off his glasses and then he puts them right back on. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. It's harvest time. Welcome to the Hellmouth. I can jump really high. Welcome to the Hellmouth. One girl in all the whatever. Jesse's super dead. The vampires made him one of them. And is it possible that angels never even had one friend? Anyway, Luke hit the bronze to feed. And things were looking bad. Till I decapitated someone with a cymbal, which was rad. Whoa, welcome to the Hellmouth. It's harvest time. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Cordelia died. Welcome to the Hellmouth. Thank God she made it. And so did everybody else.
How about that? Part 2 of a 2-part song. Part 2 of a 2-part episode.
Wow. It's almost
I said it would be continued, and then it was.
You delivered on your promises, 2 for 2. It's really comforting. It must be really comforting to you to go back to listen to these songs and know that you did actually do it. Because there were definitely times in the journey where it was like, will you do it or will you give up? You know, there were definitely moments when you said there was only one set of footprints in the sand, and I was like, that is when I carried you, my friend, and said, only 3 more, only 2 more. It's so close.
Oh yeah, it's pretty wild to have the hard proof that we did it. Looking back over the song, it's reminding me that at the beginning I was like, and every song's chorus will have the name of the episode in it, because in this song, in the Harvest, and well, in the 2-part pilot song, the refrain is "Welcome to the Hellmouth," and there's little callbacks, including, we mentioned the Harvest in both songs. This is also the dawn of roasting Angel. In verse 2, is it possible that angels never even had one friend?
To be honest with you, like when I hear this sung, I never remember that it's sourced from the like mausoleum and that like Angel was like really, really sad. I think I always think about it in the episode Angel. I like imagine it to be, I don't know, just not this. So it's very funny to put the lyric with the actual scene now.
There it is. What else? This is like very, we're still very much in the high monster of the weakiness of the songs. We don't really start to get serious, I don't think, until season 1, episode 7, Angel.
Mm-hmm.
But here we've got the cymbal decapitation getting represented, the master gouging out Colin's eye, Giles taking off his glasses and then putting them right back on. Everybody's here. We're really, really in it, and we've even got the I was like, well, we already ended it. We ended it the last time with "To Be Continued." How can we do something a little different? And so I hit the da 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 flat 6 flat 7 1 cadence, which is sort of like, it's kind of metally and just super triumphant.
Yes, I was going to say, it really feels successful. You feel like you've really done it by the end of the song.
Hell yeah.
I would like to say, we talk about this a little bit in our book that comes out in April, Slayers, Every One of Us, but this is the first song that Jenny and I ever attempted to write together. And I don't have any specific memories from this particular song, but I know that we are here in the era of me saying things like, can you make it sound, and then insert some wild word that means absolutely nothing musically. And Jenny and I were married doing this, which, like, not that like working with a business partner is simple and easy, but when you happen to also be married to them, you might, get a little bit more frustrated with them or ask them for things that you might not ask your just strictly business partner. So just, enter the universe with us. We're sitting in Altadena in our shared home in Jenny's music studio. We are trying to work together on a song, which is historically something that Jenny has done and I have never done before. So, I wish that we could go back and just kind of like pull back the curtain and see what the fuck I was saying in the beginning processes. But that you made me think of it when you were like, it sounds triumphant. I'm like, that would be a great note, right? Like, let's make it sound triumphant. I was never saying shit like that.
But I'm sure you were saying helpful stuff.
I love working on the words with you. And I think because you thought that the songs were going to be like this one, like we started in a place where we were just really like pulling literal things. And now I'm making these little music videos here and there. And I have to say, it's going to get a lot harder for me to make little music videos. These have been incredibly fun to make because I just literally find the scene and pull the beat and put it over the lyric. But yeah, it was the beginning of many things. And one of them was Jenny and I trying to learn how to create something musical together.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. 2 guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're 2 dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.